Weight loss drugs are good for more than just losing weight. Hi again, it's Jeff, and this is Plain English, episode number 853 on Monday, April 6th, 2026. At Plain English, we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics. If you've been listening for a while, or if you've been exploring the website lately, you might remember we talked about GLP-1 weight loss drugs, and we talked about how they work and how they help people struggling with obesity. But GLP-1 drugs might have many more benefits besides just weight loss, and that's what you'll learn on today's episode. You can find today's episode at plainenglish.com/853, and that's where you can read the transcript, see translations built right in, take a quiz, and do some English practice exercises. plainenglish.com/853. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. You've probably heard about GLP-1 drugs. These are the weight loss drugs with names like Wegovy, Ozempic, and Mounjaro. They're weekly injections, and they help people lose weight, a lot of weight, by suppressing their appetite. These drugs have helped millions of people shed pounds, even if they've struggled with obesity for their whole lives. You might also know that the discovery of these drugs was a bit of a surprise. Drug companies initially developed GLP-1s to treat type 2 diabetes, but patients taking them for diabetes discovered a pleasant side effect. They no longer suffered from food cravings, they had lower appetites, and they lost a significant amount of fat. The drug makers then pivoted to market GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. But what you might not know is that GLP-1s have benefits that go even beyond diabetes and weight loss. These drugs appear to help with a range of other conditions that have no obvious connection to weight or blood sugar. Several of those effects, like the weight loss before them, were only discovered by accident when doctors and patients noticed that other health problems were getting better on their own. We'll start with the most serious. People taking GLP-1s have significantly lower rates of heart attacks and strokes. Heart attacks are clearly related to obesity, so it's natural that someone losing weight would have better cardiovascular health. But the interesting thing here is that the benefit is larger than what weight loss alone would explain. It's a similar story with fatty liver disease, a condition where fat accumulates in the liver. It's serious and can lead to liver failure. But just like with heart attacks and strokes, researchers observed a decline in fatty liver disease over and above what would be expected by weight loss alone. GLP-1s also appear to help with kidney disease. Patients with conditions affecting their lifestyle have also seen a benefit. People with sleep apnea, for example, repeatedly stop breathing during sleep, jolting them awake. Many patients need a specialized machine called a CPAP just to get a full night's sleep. In trials, one GLP-1 drug reduced sleep apnea episodes by about 60%, and some patients said they didn't need their CPAP machine at all. This is a real quality of life improvement. Patients also say these drugs help with addiction. Some patients, even those who had been heavy drinkers, said they lost interest in alcohol. Others said they were finally able to stop smoking. In many cases, nobody even asked them about this. They just volunteered the information. What could be going on? The obvious explanation is weight loss. Obesity drives a lot of chronic conditions and health risks. So if you remove the obesity, then other things are bound to improve. But that only explains part of the benefit that researchers have observed. Addiction, for example, has nothing to do with body weight. One possible explanation is inflammation. When you sprain your ankle, it swells. That's your body rushing resources to the injury. It's useful in the short term, but the swelling should eventually go down. Inflammation can happen inside the body too, in organs like the heart, liver, and kidneys. Some people suffer from chronic, low-level inflammation in their internal organs. GLP-1s appear to help with this low-level internal inflammation. If GLP-1s do indeed reduce general inflammation, then the drugs might address the underlying biology of a whole host of conditions. Some patients report their arthritis and ulcers are less painful. Others who had suffered from post-COVID brain fog said they could think more clearly. Researchers are already studying whether they may help with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases in the long run. Preliminary studies on mice show that GLP-1 drugs extend health span, or how long an animal is in good health. There is reason to be optimistic, but it's still early days. The majority of patients on GLP-1s suffer from obesity or diabetes. That's who the drugs are designed for and who they're prescribed to. But that means it's very hard to study whether the drugs can affect people who don't suffer from obesity or diabetes. There just haven't been enough trials yet. Another potential worry is the question of muscle loss. When patients lose weight rapidly, they often lose muscle mass as well as fat. But how would GLP-1s affect a person who is already at their target weight? For example, if a person at a healthy body mass wanted help with addictive impulses, would that person lose an unhealthy amount of weight on a GLP-1? That trade-off hasn't yet been studied in the population. But that's not stopping the population from conducting its own less than scientific experiments. Some patients report that they cycle themselves on and off GLP-1 drugs to manage their addictive cravings based on their stress levels. Others have decided to take GLP-1s as a preventative measure to delay aging. This could turn into a much, much bigger story than just weight loss. And here I will admit, I am much, much more optimistic than I was at the beginning. My first exposure to weight loss drugs, and maybe we should stop calling them weight loss drugs now. My first experience with these drugs was a few years ago. They had just come out and they were extremely popular on Instagram and TikTok. Rich housewives, celebrities, and influencers were buying up most of the supply. They even had a name for the drugs. They called them the skinny pen. And I thought, society is doomed. Here is a potentially life-saving drug for people with obesity, and the whole supply went to self-absorbed rich people trying to lose a few pounds for a wedding or a photo shoot. But the problem was not with the drugs, obviously, but with how they were distributed and used. They're still priced very high, too high for many people in the world, but prices are coming down, and now it seems they may have a great many other benefits. One doctor said she lost count of how many marriages GLP-1s have saved because they helped one partner overcome addiction. Other people can now sleep through the night. Fewer people will have heart attacks or strokes. So if indeed this does improve the human health span, then GLP-1s could be just one more accidental discovery that changed history. And that's all for us at Plain English. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. This was number 853. Remember, the full episode is at plainenglish.com/853. We'll be back on Thursday with a new expression episode and a new story on Monday. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to Plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.